Hi guys, I am back with another video and today I'll be making this guy, that is Spider-Man from the PS4 game, wearing his advanced suit. Now the things that we'll be needing for this are flour making wires and also Shilpkar molded. That's all we'll be needing. And let's move on to the M sealing part, which is putting M seal on the wire skeleton. Pretty basic. Let's begin. Time for the M sealing. It's one of the easiest parts in this whole, creation. That's what people call it for some reason. Begins with, strengthening up, thickening up, I don't know what you call, just layering the body, making it thicker. It's easier for the whole thing to look better if the body is in a total thin thing. Okay. Now this is done in a few steps. First of all, do the chest, then you take it from the back, fixing up, everything around here there. With the sculpting tool. A toothpick works too if you don't have a sculpting tool. It's a weird story how I got this one. I got this one through one of those clay packs that you get. Okay, then you do the shoulders. Well, I don't know what you call these things. You do the sides of the shoulders. I don't know. Then you do the neck. The neck is a really integral part. Without the neck, nothing really looks like a human. Get what I mean? Then finally the head. If the head is too big, it'll look too weird. It's too small, again, it'll look too weird. So be careful on that part. Then a little bit of minor sculpting in the chest, and we can finally move on to the other part. That is the arms. We begin with one part which includes both the shoulder and the upper arm. I don't know, bicep, tricep, I don't know. Then you go to the lower arm, which is quite simple. It's just a really thin piece of M seal. And the hand. The hand gets complicated later when you have to put a toothpick through it and, you know, make a hole through it so it can hold accessories and webs and stuff like that. Then you finally do the other arm, same thing. Control C, Control V. Do the tricep. Is that a bicep tricep? I don't know. Correct me in the comments if you will. Make the hand, and then finally you can go on to the legs, beginning with the thighs. Thighs are really easy. Just make two literal sausages and slap them on the legs, wrapping them around and just smoothing out that one line, that one crease that has been formed. Then you go to the lower leg, which is, the calves. The calves need to be just a little bit thicker in the, near the foot area. I have no idea what to call that either. Then you finally make another even part, which is just the same size as the other thigh, and then slap it on. Then finally the other calf muscle, lower leg. I don't know what you call it. And once that is done, all you're left with are the feet. Now remember, the feet need to be a little bit not properly molded on, because that way we can easily move them once the whole figure is dried. Then make the feet. They're actually quite easy. Just wrap and seal around that one skeleton feet that you've made. Skeleton foot that you've made. The other foot. And that's basically about it. There you have your action figure. Be happy. You made something in life. Amazing. You stand it up. Keep it outside to dry. Sunlight usually dries it in about 20-30 minutes. This is voiceover today. Signing off. Once the M sealing is done, it should look something like this, but completely white, because the painting is left. Painting is done in layers. The first layer, the primary layer, is done in blue. Secondary layer is red and white. That's basically it. Also, this guy, Spiderbot. The paint brush that we'll be needing for this is a thinner one, and if you can do it better with a thicker one, that would work too. So let's get on with the painting. Finally, time for the painting. This begins with, the body. And the way I did the Spider-Man was quite fun. The parts which are supposed to be red, I actually taped them off, masking tape. It didn't cover the whole area properly, but it had enough space for me to do the red inside. It doesn't mix up with the blue. Because of the dropping temperature in winters, the paint doesn't really dry fast. So you really got to mask some things off, just to be that extra safe. Masking was done on the chest, the side of the thighs, and finally the arms. All of the other stuff was painted onto the blue, which was a little bit of a pain, but I had to deal with it. The head wasn't even touched with the tape, which is kind of obvious not to do it. Now painting is really quite easy. You have like three, four colors. The first one being a primary color, you know, not that kind of a primary coat color, which you do on the bottom. The second one is the one which you layer on top of it, and the third one is the final one. In this one, I took blue as a primary color, and red as the secondary, and also green as secondary. Not green, sorry, white as secondary. Please excuse me for that. So I removed the masking tape and put on the red paint. That kind of explains all the weird unpainted spots in the chest. The masking tape. I mean, you can rip off the paint by scratching it off, but that just takes a little bit too long than the masking tape. I know I have to cut it off and stuff. Enough about masking tape. The painting. The red paint was really easy to apply on. Thick coats allowed it to not mix with the blue. And as you can see, I also made whipping hand on the right one. I don't think I sculpted that in the video. Yeah, sculpt that in later. And the arm, do the thighs. Now the webbing, which I did not explain in the video, is done with a marker. It was done later. I forgot to shoot it. Very sorry. If you have made it till this part, in which case, thank you. We have another first. You paint the other arm. And remember not to paint inside the holes. That really causes the hole to get smaller by a few minuscule centimeters, but the problem that arises is that it can't hold the weapon that you have made for it. In this case, it was hard for me to put the webbing inside his hand because it was a certain size, and the hole got a little bit too small because I put too much paint in it. The feet I really don't like on this suit because they don't have much red and they just don't stand out that much. They're like, yeah, he has boots on, what the hell. Usually his feet stand out the most. This time they're just plain. So yeah, one thing I changed on the suit would be the feet. But I couldn't because skin accurateness. You now see the Spidey drone down there, which I painted off camera because that's a little project I might make later. If you want to see a video on that, please comment down below. I would love to make a video. The Spidey symbol was quite hard. I had to keep a reference picture right beside me. You can't see it in this shot. The tough thing is to keep the arms of the spider aligned. And if there is a little bit of extra paint or paint spillage, don't be worried. You can just paint over it. That's the best thing about paint. And if your paint isn't thick enough, then the red will just shine through and it'll become pink. That was a huge thing I faced. The main problem I faced while painting the symbol. Even the symbol on the back was kind of rushed, which I still don't like. I might change it in a later video. In this video I also showed a stand. If you would like to see how I made that, please comment down the comment section below. The spider symbol gets easier once you've done one side. Then you have the hands, which are again a little bit too weird. Why white only on the hands? Then you finally have the other hand, which is a little bit thinner because the toothpick didn't go through when I was making the whole thing. And then the eyes. The eyes now have a huge problem because when you're making the eyes, one of them needs to be perfect. That way the second one can easily be traced over. If one is small and the other one is big, that might just mess up your Spidey. Unless you're going for an expression look, in which case, go for it. I took a thick marker, and then went to the eyes after that. Then to the logo on the back. This was really rushed. I still somehow was able to pull out a decent symbol because the paint wasn't thick enough and the blue kind of shined through that. Then the feet, and finally the knee pads, which wasn't in the actual suit. I had to add that in later. Add those in later. It's quite nice. Voiceover, they out. Now that all that is done, you should have something that looks something like this. Maybe better, maybe worse. I don't know. I don't live with you. Now, the articulation on this may vary on your figure because you do differently, I do it differently. Legs can go kick out that far and go back that far. They can go sideways that far. You can almost pull off the splits because sculpting. Then you have the neck. The neck and the head are joined, so they don't have much articulation except for moving right and left. The arms can do a full 360 and can go out that far and in that far including a bend at the elbows. The knees also have a bend, which allow him to, have much dynamic poses, and the feet also have foot articulation. This guy, on the other hand, his little spider drone, doesn't have much articulation because it's a piece of M-Seal. What do you expect? That's about it for this video. Hope you like this, and if you enjoyed more than other people, be sure to subscribe. And if you enjoy what I do, like this video. And if you have your thoughts about what I do, if you want to change it, please comment in the comment section down below. This is me signing off. Bye bye.